what it's going to do, and we'll get started here. I'm Scott. I'm Rockfile. TheRockfile.com is the name of my website, and I'm going to be playing some old school XCOM today. We'll talk a little bit about the game, a little bit of history, a little bit of strategy, and just kind of chat. Give me just a second. I'll be right back. Be right back. All right, we have about 4 more minutes, 3.5 more minutes until we can get started. I don't want to start playing before everybody was supposed to be here. Today will be fueled by Louisiana sweet iced tea, made like we do in the state of Georgia, where I'm from, and some nice lemon do-si-dos from Columbia Care, freshly ground and put in my dugout. Columbia Care of Florida. Thank you very much. And yeah, so anyway, XCOM was a game. I talked in the test the other day, a little bit of history. XCOM came out in 1994. It came out overseas first in the UK, I believe. XCOM UFO Defense was the full name over here. I think it was just UFO Defense over there. Julian Gallup created the game with Microprose, and it was a turn-based strategy game. Came on floppy disks, and the first demo that we got at before there was GameStop, there was Electronic Boutique. Single floppy, single mission that randomized every time you played it. And we played that for several months before the main game came out and thought that was great. They gave this out for free and it's different every time, and really enjoyed just the gameplay of that one mission, playing it differently every single time that you go into it. And that's what happens in the game, but the game, there's more to that. You build a base, you take back the weapons and stuff you claim from the aliens, and you research them, and you build on those and improve your own weapons and your soldiers, and it's all kind of like a little role-playing game going on in the background of this turn-based strategy game with a real-time overworld element. The graphics are very rudimentary, but the gameplay mechanics are pretty much unchanged all the way up to the new XCOM games that have been made today by Take-Two, or 2K, I mean. There was XCOM, there was XCOM 2. They have both had add-ons which radically change the games and add other gameplay elements. Julian Gallup, by the way, has a new game that's been out for about a year now, and the year one edition just came out, called Phoenix Point. And you can see a gameplay of that on my YouTube channel. I don't think it's saved here on Twitch. And that game is basically a successor to XCOM from the creator of XCOM, but not XCOM. The story's different, but the gameplay is very similar. Turn-based strategy, an ever-evolving alien menace, that kind of thing. So, if you want to play that, and I will, this is my first of Saturday afternoon streams. Saturday afternoon at 4 o'clock seems, at least while the pandemic stuff is still going on, it's not a bad time to take a couple hours out and play some video games. And each week, I might not always be playing the same XCOM game. What we're going to do today is start a new game, and you can see how it goes from the beginning up until I stop. And maybe I'll continue that next week. And then maybe I play one of the later XCOM games. This is all testing and stress testing my system, getting a little more difficult graphically, and with the stream and things like that, as I begin to upgrade more of this system over the next few weeks and months. Join with me as we do this. So anyway, it is almost 4 o'clock, and we're about to start gameplay on the original XCOM game. This is still a DOS-based game. It plays in a DOS window box. You can get it on Steam and other downloadable gaming sites. I still have a disc of it. The game originally came out on PlayStation 1 and was a slightly truncated, cut-down version, but played basically the same. And I've got that. It's in this giant jewel case. I've got that in a box. I need to put it up behind me. Wait a minute. There was one in here. Oh, there it is right there. Yeah, I'll have to pull that out. Hang on. Nobody's here yet. We can do that. Sorry, guys. My dogs are in here right here. Here's a little bit of history for you. I'll make something unique to this stream. The original XCOM PlayStation game, bought pre-owned for $19.99 because I was a big computer gamer still at the time. And really didn't want to play it on a system. Look how big this box is. This giant plastic box just for one disc. And anyway, you can see this is before PlayStation shrunk down to CD-sized boxes. This was in the very beginning. Microprose there. Yeah, so there have been always PlayStation versions and Xbox versions of XCOM games, but that's history right there. What's the date on that? Can't find one. Wow. You don't see that much anymore either. 1995. It says on the booklet. So that would be a year after the computer release. Wow. So anyway, let me get the game started over here. Pick our language and stuff like that. Move my stuff around. Should have had all this set up. If you want to chat, I will have that up during gameplay. Obviously, if you're watching a replay of this, that won't be the case. It's showing the wrong screen. There we go, much better. That's the way it should look. All right, so once you pick your first language, you can begin to play the game. We're going to play Experience this time, which will probably be brutal. During the test the other day, I played Beginner and got my ass handed to me in my third mission. I mean, it was that bad. The main mistake I made during the test is not paying attention when I put my first base down. That's very important. Because you need to not be able, you're not going to have a lot of money and resources in the beginning. So putting it somewhere centrally located where you get a lot of UFO action is wise. So this is our European base. And that will already populate with soldiers and aircraft. We have enough money to build a second base, and I usually build that in North America. And then you can just build facilities as long as you have money. You obviously need living quarters. You obviously need a hangar. You start the game with about $4 million, so you can build another base and staff and things like that in the general stores. And we wait, that's going to take 10 days, 16 days, 25 days to build in real time in the Geoscape screen. Meanwhile, at the other base, it came pre-built with all this stuff, and I can add to it. The soldiers came preloaded. I will send other soldiers to the other base once it is built. We have a small radar system. We'll build a bigger one. Let's go ahead and do that. That costs a lot of money, but it's worth it. My gameplay screen is still pretty small. I can either do it small or full screen, but if I do a full screen, I can't see the chat stuff, so... Large radar just has a greater distance it can cover, and you stand more of a chance of grabbing a UFO. So this is the quote-unquote real-time screen, the Geoscape. All the XCOM games have this. You back out of the base, or you back out of a mission, and this is where you see the overview of what's going on the planet. I can zoom around. I can go all over it. I'm going in increments of 1 hour to give me time to chat a little bit before we started getting into some action. But let's go ahead. There. First UFO detected. These are the screens that pop up when you see them. It gives you a chance to do something or not. We center on it and we send intercept. If the UFO is landed, you could go ahead and send out your landing craft with your military on it. If they're still flying, you need to shoot them down. When I get close and zoom in, control the attack. Dig the nice mid-90s MIDI music. It outruns us. So we will catch up to it again, but sometimes I launch a second interceptor this early in the game. You can do that. Later in the game, another UFO might pop up. And if you have both of your interceptors checking out one, then you're leaving somebody unprotected. In the later games, you can also have more than one interceptor attacking at one time. In the early games, it's just one at a time. If this UFO shot down this interceptor, the next interceptor will take over. But this interceptor shot it down. And so now we can send our landing craft with our military already loaded onto it, the Sky Ranger, and we send it out there to do a mission. And we head to the crash site. Meanwhile, the two planes, we can leave them out there and they can just fly overhead. And they will be like an additional radar area that's covered. Or you can just bring them on back like I did. And they will refuel and repair if they took any damage and be ready for the next mission. So there are a variety of missions to play with in the game. Most of what you play will be crash recoveries. Later on, there'll be terror missions, pretty early on. Terror missions will be like a city, that aliens have taken over a city. But this will be a randomized map based on where it landed on the globe. If it lands in a desert, you're going to see desert. If it lands in the forest, you're going to see forest. If it's farmland, you're going to see farmland. The tactical screen is covered by the fog of war. We cannot see what we cannot see, right? So as my guys get off the plane, we will see more of the map. And they instantly spot a baddie. Now there's the crashed UFO, and it took a lot of damage. Most of the walls are down. There's a lot of smoke. We can see a dead body in there. A lot of scorched damage. A lot of damage around the area. There's not going to be much to recover from this UFO that we shot down, and there may only be one alien. So you get the little box showing you that there's one that centers the map on it, and then we can choose the different shots. Yes, a 62% chance to shoot one shot is great, but 19 for 3 shots, sometimes you hit. Like with the first one. We kill the alien. If at any time we kill all of the aliens, the mission will end. So we end the turn, and there's at least one, and he's over there. I hope you don't find the backdrop too distracting. I did mess around with green screens, and so I had nothing but just a head. And I know a lot of the professional gaming Twitch guys do that, but I didn't really like that. I don't know, it's weird. And because I have this silvery white hair, I blended in and out. I look like a alien, something from Guardians of the Galaxy, planet-sized Kurt Russell something. I don't know. But anyway, so instead of green screen, we're doing a background that I can change things in and out of, or like I did at the beginning, I could go get a copy of XCOM for PlayStation 1. Yes, that is the only PlayStation 1 game I still own, because PlayStations have not ever really been backwards compatible much. Well, PlayStation 2 had the emotion chip for a while. But anyway, I kept it just because it's one of my top 3 all-time favorite games, and that's one of the versions of it that you didn't see when it was out then, much less now. All right, there's 2 aliens to the south of the ship. We saw the second one once my guy turned. And he missed with the auto shot, and he's still got 31 points left. So we can fire again. One thing we talked about the other day when I played the demo is that all-terrain and such is destructible, which is a wonderful thing. Makes things a little more realistic. Sometimes it does that if you're not clear about where you're sending the guy. Oh well. Yes, behind the landing gear. He's got no line of sight. Of course. You don't want to pull everybody off the ship at the beginning, because you don't know how many bad guys there are, and the more guys you have out, the more targets you have out. And this early in an XCOM game, you want to keep as many guys as you can, because they level up. They get stronger as you go. And to lose one is kind of a big deal. And I can go into the soldier screens and change all their names, so I know who Bob is, and I know who Scott is, and things like that. You should always end the turn with your guys behind cover. But I think he's the last guy. And he is. So I took a chance and let my guy stand out there. Now one of our guys got killed. It was a random shot and it happens. If I had saved at the beginning and I was trying to get a perfect game, I would like restart the mission. But this is early on and your guys are pretty much fodder in the beginning because they're all basic soldiers. One of our guys got promoted, the ship goes back to the base, and everybody heals and restocks and gets ready for the next mission. You eventually run out of bullets, so you have to make more of those or capture more of those, and they will automatically reload when they get back to the base. And it'll let you know if you're out, unable to reload, that kind of thing. We haven't done any research yet. So over in USA... the first bit of the base got finished. So now we can add on to that. We had covered up all the areas with things that were being built. Now we can build more facilities. So the next thing we want to do, let's go ahead and just do a big radar over there. We're eventually going to have to buy a plane and send it over there. We don't have much money, so we'll have to sell off some stuff. we are allocating different things to research. Once we research them, our engineers can build them. You should save and save often. In XCOM, save at the beginning of every mission you're going to play. Save anytime you think about it. Just save, 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 because you never know when something horrible is going to happen, and you need to go back a little bit. As we get a little further into the game, something horrible, like, they will find out where your base is, and they will land and they will attack your base, like a terror mission, or like the mission you just saw. But you have to defend your base. And if your guys say, I only have 8 soldiers and they're all out on a mission, your base is undefended and they can just walk right through your base. If you got guys there, you have to defend it. Maybe you left 2 guys behind, so they have to. So eventually you have to build up enough of a stable of soldiers to be able to protect your bases as well, because they will do base attacks. And these were some of the things that, by playing the demo in the beginning, we had no idea that the game was going to be that cool. Everything's going to be randomized. Everything's going to be different every time you play it, that kind of thing. And all of these other things to do. Now, when your interceptor's on the way to shoot down a UFO and the UFO disappears somehow, you can return to base, you can patrol where you are, or you can go to the last known position and it will patrol there. And so the UFO might have landed in that area. So we sit here and we detected it. And now it's over here. So we can go ahead and select new target. And target it again. And I'm going to go ahead and launch the second interceptor just so we don't lose this thing. Now while that's going on, going back to the bases, we're going to look at soldiers. All of my soldiers... We lost 1 and 1 is wounded, so we only have 6. We need to get some more soldiers. So we're going to recruit 4 more. And we're starting to run out of money. We need to sell some stuff. If there are weapons you're not going to use, sell them. You can use the money, especially in the beginning. I never use the pistols. They're just weak. I sell them off. I just haven't used them. In the early days, when you're getting alien weaponry and you haven't researched it yet, it doesn't do you any good. If you get more than 1 corpse, you don't really need more than 1 corpse. You just need 1 to research it. So sell that stuff. You just earn $258,000 from selling off something. So we're back up to $1 million. And we can build some stuff and recruit some stuff. When you think of those little things, it's when you go back to the base and you fix those things, and you order those things, and you build those things. And that's the juggling that goes on, this real-time stuff. You know, making sure you're always have everything you need to and then to do the actual. It's like playing a good chess game. So they did some damage to the interceptor, and they're outrunning it. This happens in the beginning. Later, we research a faster ship. Faster interceptor. But we have another interceptor on the way. So we're going to let interceptor number 1 continue to follow this one, and we're going to have interceptor 2 catch up. And if interceptor 1 runs out of fuel, it'll go back. Interceptor 2 will pick up the slack. Playing this game as much as I have, the UFO will eventually disappear if you don't catch it. And so we lost tracking. We're going to send everybody back to the base. It probably left. Once the USA radar system is built, we will cover all of that area. Eventually, I will build another base on this side of the planet. I will build more bases in the southern hemisphere. It helps you cover more. That's much more important in the newer games. In the older games, it is, because you get more money from the countries that you're saving. But in the newer games, aliens can be doing things in those countries that you haven't made friends with yet. And that can work against you later in the game. And there's a time limit on some things. So anyway, our 4 new soldiers arrived at our first base. So we go into that base and we equip them. We put them on the ship. Because remember, 1 is wounded and he'll be ready soon, and another one died. So our wounded guy is still there. So we're going to put him on and put him on. And as long as you have enough equipment loaded on the Sky Ranger, they will all get it when it's time for the next mission. In the newer games, it is very important to equip your guys first. Each guy will have a specialty, a sniper, you know, and so you want to make sure he's got the sniper rifle and things like that. And they can upgrade their weapons during the course of the missions. Where on the flip side, in this game, it's not, you know, everybody gets whatever weapon they get, and some of them do get better at it and things like that. I forgot to, hang on just a second, I forgot to let a friend of mine know that I was playing. All right, sorry about that. One more second. So, what do you guys think about turn-based strategy games? If you're watching this for whatever reason back in the day, or you used to play this, or are you curious about these kind of things? Letting you guys know that the chat's working. This was something I played on one of my very first PCs. My stepdad, back in the day, was a computer nut. He did a lot of computer work for the railroad. And got me a 386 25 hertz, I believe, that I had to upgrade to play this in Doom. I had to put a sound card in it. I eventually had to get a video card to play Quake in 3D, that kind of thing. So, my earliest games were these simple Civilization, XCOM. I just love turn-based games because, you know, while the aliens are taking their turn, as I explained the other day doing the the test I was doing, if you had an older PC and was running this game, when the aliens took their turn on one of those missions, it could take 45 minutes. You literally could walk out of the room, go fix a sandwich, go do some stuff, go to the bathroom, come back, and the computer would still be computating what everything was going on. Here it takes seconds, literally seconds. But back in the day, slow computers, back in 1994, 95, man, it took a long time. It really took a long time to finish a mission. So the target is landed, but I send an interceptor anyway, because if it were to take off before my Skylander gets there, I need to chase it down. So we've been on for about 29 minutes. We're streaming a brand new fresh game of XCOM that came out in 1994, a turn-based strategy game that's a combination of a real-time overview screen and a turn-based strategy randomized mission element. And all of this, these loading screens took a while. As you go into each mission, you can change what each of your guys is carrying. I kind of worked that out before. So I didn't show you what the map looks like. When we land, all we can see is what's out of the back of the Sky Ranger. And here is the ship that is landed, and it's fully intact. We didn't shoot it down. We discovered it, detected it when it was on the ground. So you will have a full complement of whatever aliens were on board, and you will have to go through the front door because none of the walls would be blown out, which would happen if you had shot it down. I like to put my soldiers, leave them enough time to auto fire. That was lucky for us. Sometimes you step off and there's a guy waiting for you behind you, whatever. So we'll shoot. I love destructible terrain. First time I remember that had destructible terrain. As I mentioned in the test, there was a mercenary game you could play back in the day that was basically based on XCOM's engine. And it was the same kind of thing, just with mercenary stuff, Rambo stuff, and I never... Jagged Edge, I think they were called. I didn't play it much. I just didn't... I like building bases. I like... especially in the newer games, but in this one too, there's a story that plays out. The farther you get, there's a mystery. And I won't give anything away quite yet, but at the very end of the game, it opens up what happens in the sequel, which was XCOM Terror from the Deep. Same game, but underwater. Yeah. Not kidding. Missions were twice as long. Everything, they doubled down on everything in that game. It's the exact same engine, exact same graphics, but everything is longer. Everything is doubled. Missions were doubled. Weapons were doubled. It was just crazy. And I do play that from time to time, but even with a fast computer, it would take a... in Terror from the Deep, some of the missions, instead of like you have a terror mission in this game and you have to go get the aliens from infiltrating a city, in Terror from the Deep, they infiltrate a ship. And so you have to play this very long mission on top of a very large cruise ship, and then you have to go into the bowels of the ship, which is a whole second, like the game reloads, and it's a whole second set of missions underneath, and hours. In the old days, it would take you hours to clear one of those ships, but even on a fast computer today, that would be an incredibly long mission, which we will do one Saturday as I try and get through some old retro turn-based gaming. You don't see very many turn-based games anymore. There were turn-based role-playing games. A lot of the Final Fantasy games have been turn-based battles. There are turn-based strategy games, a lot based on Japanese anime. There's some turn-based... the first Fallout games were turn-based like this, isometric screens before Fallout 3 made it fully 3D, but you're still... you have turn-based combat in Fallout 3. So anyway, turn-based strategy is I move all my guys like a chess game, and then they move all their guys like a chess game. And so that right there is what would take 45 minutes. If there were 7 or 8 aliens on the screen and you can't see them, you would just have this blank screen and hear you know, and it would go on and on and on. And now it took what, 10 seconds? Modern technology. So what we're trying to do is do some flanking moves here. Like I said, this UFO is intact. The front door is right here. This is very early in the game. This is one of the first UFOs you shoot down. This is a small UFO. There doesn't have very many rooms. Later on, the UFOs get bigger. You'll eventually find bases and stuff. That's something else we'll cover. Always leave guys facing the opposite direction. Even if you've uncovered the area, if there's any kind of buildings, if there's any kind of hills, you never know, especially because the UFO was already landed when we got out here. And so now there's an alien way over here, and I can tell by that little piece that there is a building, like a barn over here. So this is where my guys are. There are buildings back here. We've already had one guy here. We know there's going to be at least a few in here, and there's one here. The rest of the map, they could be anywhere. And why I wanted to show this game off in 2021, games are just not as hard anymore. You will see, maybe not in this mission, but a mission, my guys will step off the plane and pew, instant death. And the next guy steps off the plane, pew, instant death. I mean, I've lost in one turn. Early in the game, you don't know what you're doing. You want to leave your guys under cover always. As you could tell, some of my guys were not. They were just kind of standing out there in the fields, but there's nowhere for them to go in these kind of missions. Until I can get to behind a fence post or whatever. And so I would move them on something like that, and then it would take their turn, and then I'd go in the other room and fix a soda or fix some popcorn or whatever, and I'd hear pow, 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 and I would come back and the mission would be over because during their turn they had enough aliens out and enough good shots, they took out my entire team. And so you learn from making mistakes like that to not take everybody off the plane at first. Leave a few people on there because they're protected. As I mentioned in the test the other day, it's good to take the auto shots because although you have a less of a chance to hit, you're also hitting other things. And if you take out some walls, you take out some trees, you take out the aliens' cover. And that's important down the road. It makes it easier to hit them. All these calculations going on behind the scenes while I play this game. It looks very simple, but they're using movement units. All right. This is where you would click and okay, I'm gonna go make a pizza. You could literally order Domino's and have it delivered before it was your turn again. But here, 15 seconds and the entire turn is over. So I'm sending this guy around back because aliens like to come around the back of their UFOs. Again, I've played this game for 25 years. I'm very familiar with the tricks of what the aliens can be up to. Always leave your guys with some extra time so they can perform snapshots if aliens walk in front of their field of view. Always, 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 unless you just can't. Really lucky shot. Considering these guys are rookies, that we hit it all. It's usually more like that. They're standing behind a low brick wall that gives them like a half point of instead of a full point of cover. But so we took those two guys out, and I'm gonna leave him or her. Let her go over here. And as you see, the more they move, the more they uncover the map. These are where the bodies are. You can kind of track that. But this guy is about to go in, and he's got backup coming around both sides. And on it goes. I know to some people who are used to Twitch-type gaming, and I don't mean Twitch the service, I just mean, first-person shooters, competitive shooters, Battle Royale, whatever, this is probably not very exciting. But if you're alone, and especially if you're looking for something kind of low-key, late at night, XCOM, Civilization, not Diablo so much, because Diablo's not turn-based. It's very action-oriented and raises the blood pressure. But for years before bed, most people watch like an hour of TV before they go to bed to relax. I usually played one of these turn-based strategy games because it gave me time to sit back and relax from the day. And sit back, and I don't have to hurry up. I have to think about my moves more than twitch and shoot and line up a move. I find these games quite relaxing. And like I said, you just don't see them that much anymore. But if you're looking for this kind of experience, you can still get this game cheap at like $5-10. And all the games that have come after. Don't get the mid ones. There's like a XCOM Interceptor where they tried to make it a shooter, a flight sim shooter. There was an XCOM Apocalypse that tried to take it real time. You had a real time or a turn-based button switch. They could just switch the whole game back and forth. But they didn't get the mechanics right. And none of these other games felt like XCOM games. Not until 2K started making and rebooted XCOM. And that first XCOM that came out for PC and then eventually for the consoles is a great XCOM game. And then they made an add-on, Microprose, and Sid Meier's company, Civilization Games. They're the same ones that are behind the XCOM games now. And they're very good at releasing an add-on that radically changes the game for the good. It adds like this big gameplay element or this big change, not just a new country to play or a new color of uniform or something like that. It adds like heroes or villains or, you know, just some major gameplay element. And XCOM does the same thing. XCOM came out, and then there was a big add-on. XCOM 2 came out, and then there was War of the Chosen, which radically changed XCOM 2. Highly recommend those. You can get them cheap for PlayStation 4 and Xbox. I'm sure there's another XCOM in the works. There was a new PC game recently that was not bad, but again, they're trying to change gameplay mechanics again, do something different with the game. And we don't really want anything different, but just like this with better graphics. So as I recommended before, and it used to be up on Twitch, but over a period of time, some of these videos, I didn't save it, I guess. I played through the beginning of Phoenix Point, which is the new game from the creator of XCOM, and it very modern graphics, very it looks beautiful, it plays great, and we will play that on another Saturday to see how far these type of games progress. There are diehard XCOM fans. This was obviously, they wouldn't have tried to reboot the series over and over and over, and people have tried to steal the gameplay mechanics and make other games based on it, but they just never seem to strike the right balance, I guess, of the base building and the turn-based missions. And it really, I like the base building because it gives you a reason to play these missions, to take things back and research them, and because you're going to get a faster ship and stronger weapons or whatever. But I really play for this. I love this turn-based element. I love being able to line up my shots and choose my shots. And I'm a huge, I mean, Half-Life and since games all the way up to Destiny 2 and stuff. I love first-person shooters. A really good one. I replayed one recently. That's on my YouTube channel if you want to check that out. There's links at therockfile.com. One from a few years ago that was just a great first-person shooter that most people didn't play. I love that. That's probably my other favorite genre of games. Not a big sports guy. I'm not a big driving guy. I'm not a big fighting game guy. And real-time strategy I like. The Command and Conquer games and things like that I played quite a bit. But I always, my entire life, always go back to XCOM and Civilization. Civilization is up to 6. XCOM 2 War of the Chosen is like the 10th or 12th game. There will be more Phoenix Point too, because that's turned out to be a really good game. Phoenix Point's coming to consoles, so if you're interested in turn-based strategy and want something that looks a lot more modern than this old game, you can get Phoenix Point on PlayStation 4 and 5 soon. If not, I think it's spring. I think it's coming soon. But XCOM and XCOM 2 are available. These barns have a second level, and I can't see everything that's in there until I go up the stairs, right? So as bad as the graphics are, it's got real gameplay type elements. It's always good to have a guy covering somebody's back and leave them with some extra time points so they can fire a shot in case the guy in front gets attacked. All right, that was a really quick turn. There's probably 1 to 2 aliens left. There's usually one in this power plant area, sometimes one in the cockpit. We don't see one in the cockpit, so it's probably in this power plant area that's dark right here behind this door. Gonna leave him with some points and bring this other guy in. We'll kind of leave everybody else where they are and see what happens. Sometimes the alien will come out. If there's only one in there, he'll get scared and he'll come out and try and shoot us or run away. Aliens can panic. Soldiers can panic. If most of my team got killed off, my soldiers would start panicking. When your soldiers do well, all their stats go up. By the way, all the soldiers do have stats. Time unit, energy, health. The time units are what they use. All these things go up. When we start wearing armor, they will go up. Strength goes up, throwing accuracy, firing accuracy. If I was really playing a hardcore game, the first thing you do is when you get your first rookies, you go in and you start getting all the ones that have a firing accuracy like below 50%. Just get those guys out and get new ones in that have better firing accuracies and that kind of thing. But this is more of a demonstration instead of a strategy session. So, because like I said, most people have never had access to these games. Most people haven't tried these games. Most people don't know what these games are about. But people who love them, have followed them, have played all the different incarnations, have been disappointed at the different incarnations that were terrible. And we're really happy when 2K started making decent, good. They had some graphical problems. They had some gameplay problems in the beginning, but... Okay, so here we go. We think there's at least one in here, and there is. So we leave one guy out. We send one guy in. He takes this guy out. But we're going to look in this shadow over here, just to be sure, because sometimes one can be sitting there, and if you don't look, you don't see him. So hopefully that was the last alien, and it is, and the mission's just 9 turns. We didn't lose anybody, but for some reason we only got a good, not an excellent. I don't know why. It would take too long. Illyrium is their power source. It's very important. Navigation and power source. You want to research those so you can build better ships. But in the beginning, you have so many things to research. Sell them off because they're worth a lot of money. 3 of my people got promotions. The sergeant went up to the captain, and 2 of the rookies went up to sergeant. That's great. That means they're now a better shot. That means they're not going to get as panicked as easy when things happen, when bad things happen. We're playing on level 2 out of, like, I think there's 6 difficulty, 6 or 7 difficulty. Level 2 is experienced. So we just researched laser weapons. Now we can research laser pistols. Why do we want laser pistols? Because they don't require ammo. Plasma are more powerful, though. But we really want laser rifles, but you got to get there, you know. Once they finish researching med kits, we can build med kits, and then you can heal in a mission. If somebody gets shot and not killed, one of the other soldiers can walk up to them and heal them. We have a small flying UFO. The small ones are pretty easy to shoot down. Wait till we get to the medium and the large. I can lose 2 or more interceptors trying to shoot down a large one. Sometimes it's better just to follow them and see if they land somewhere. Until you get, like I said, you will get stronger flying weaponry as well. And aircraft. I remember back in the day, we were using MIDI sound cards and stuff, and we didn't really do high-end wave files and things like that. Eventually, when the Sound Blaster started coming out, audio went through the roof on the computer, and being the sound guy that I am and the audio nut that I am, I got one of the first Sound Blasters, and I kept my Sound Blasters updated until eventually there was no point in buying a separate card. The chips that came on motherboards were good enough. The chip that's on this motherboard is a better digital to audio converter than I have on, like, my Blu-ray player. And so there's no point in buying a high-end card. They still make them, but you know, they don't sell like they used to. You used to have to get high-end or 5.1 audio out of a computer, you had to have a Sound Blaster card or another sound card, a Sound Blaster 1. And we had those before we had GPUs, before we had video cards. Okay, this particular map, see, everything's different. Things are in different places. I mean, these are basically tile sets. But when you land on, like, a frozen tundra or a desert, it's radically different. And in the next game, a lot of underwater stuff. Coral and bubbles popping up. An occasional crab walks by and things like that. And, again, yes, it looks like cheesy sprite graphics, which it is. But, you know, this is 1994, people, that we even had this. It's kind of three-dimensional. We were just getting into making things look 3D, not that we could actually make them 3D. It was kind of a big deal. This had multiple levels, and destructible terrain were some of the biggest deals about it. All right. That was pretty quick, so not a whole lot of aliens on this particular mission. That's a good thing. But like I said, they have tried to reboot and restart and sequelize this game, and really the first two, and then the modern versions of XCOM 1 and 2 that you can get on the consoles and on PC, are really the only worthy XCOMs in all the years that they tried to do another XCOM. It just, they couldn't. These companies that own the rights to it weren't always working with Julian. He stepped away and did other things for a while. And everybody, you'd think this would be a simple gameplay thing to get right, and it just never was. And even today, other companies are making real-time turn-based and strategy games and RPGs and things like that, and they don't do as well. I don't know. People don't understand them. I've always looked at it like a chess match, and I've always looked at it as quite relaxing to be able to play a video game that, takes its time. I can't do anything right now. My hands are off the controls. The aliens are doing what they do. As I mentioned during the test and at the beginning, Lemon Dosey Does from Columbia Cara, Florida. I'm a medical cannabis patient here in the state, fully legal, and I run a site called FloridianCannabis.com, where we post the daily specials every day. I've done some live sessions and such like that. We have a Facebook group, Floridian Cannabis Club. But this was trying Twitch, playing video games, and medicating and that kind of thing. I wanted to test all that out together. So these Saturday afternoon gaming sessions are basically stress tests of my computer, my system, my gaming, my streaming, my internet connection, all that stuff. And start with a basic game that doesn't tax the computer too much. I'm using 0.9 gigs of my 16 gigs of memory right now, and CPU's only at 12% with the stream and the game running. So kudos to Switch for having very efficient software. I'm in this Twitch studio, and it's working quite well, actually. I know that down the road I will be able to stream this on other sessions at the same time, but I'm still in audience building mode. I started podcasting a year and a half ago. Building an audience for the things that I talk about and the things that I do it takes a while in modern. If you're not going to spend thousands or millions of dollars on advertising, so create content. Every single expert out there on the internet, if you want to start your own channel, whatever you want to do, you want to talk about sports, you want to talk about cannabis, you want to talk about video games, you want to talk about movies, whatever, content. Just get the content out there. That's how you beat the algorithms at their own game. One of the things I read recently was just, I had not posted too many videos to Facebook. I post videos to YouTube. And one of the guys that I trust who recommends, business solutions and audience solutions and things like that, suggested that, dude, just start the same content that you make for YouTube, just upload it to Facebook too. Because the more you get up there, the more the algorithms see it, the more the more you have, the more it helps. And so we started doing the daily video on Floridian Cannabis, and that's over 100 videos now. And now we're starting to see audience find it. Not just the people who are looking for it, the people who are not looking for it. And that means we're starting to swim in the algorithms with enough content that gets picked up and shown to people in their feeds. Because again, I don't have a large budget to buy advertising. So thank you for those that have tuned in. I've seen a few people pop in and out, and some stay. Thank you, and welcome. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat. I may have covered something, but I don't mind going over things. I know way too much about these silly games, and I didn't create them. I just play them. I don't know what trials and tribulations they went through to do what they've done, but I have played XCOM and Civilization more than any other games in my life because there's something I can play before bed, something I can play that lowers the blood pressure and lowers my brain activity and allows me to relax. And not usually something I play in the afternoon. I mean, earlier, didn't have a lot going on. I'm replaying Skyrim on my PS4 Pro. I haven't played that game in about 4 years, and Skyrim's about 10 years old, but it looks great because they've updated it, kept it patched, and that kind of thing. My guys were running into dead ends, so I'm sending them back around. It looks like there's only 1 or 2 aliens left, and they're probably on the ship. Oh yeah, the ship took a lot of damage. There's a couple bodies. The power source is destroyed. There's another body over here. Okay. Wherever the last guy is, he is hiding. So we're going to look for him. As I mentioned in the test the other day, XCOM Terror from the Deep, exact same game, but underwater. The geoscape is flipped. Instead of doing missions only on land, you do missions only on the water and ships in the ocean. So it may be the last alien that's alive is outside of the ship. So we're going to try and take him out. And end the mission and go back to our base and sell off some stuff and make some more money. You will get that sometimes, no line of fire, and you won't know why. In modern games, it's a bit easier to know where your line of fire is, but you know, there were some limitations back in 1994. So we just lost one of our soldiers. Not good, but it happens. And there doesn't appear to be anybody in the downed ship. So where did we lose the guy? Where might the alien be? Yellow are mine, white are the bodies. I don't know, I'm thinking down here or in this black area that we didn't even bother to check out. Okay, who died? Him. So it's somewhere in this area. Alright, let's go looking. See, now he can see the whole floor, but there wasn't anything to see. Aha! He sees the guy way up here. And this is the last one. Now, we didn't hear, that's what I was going to say. We didn't hear the alien die. When you shoot them, there's usually or later when there's that. You've only seen one type of alien. There's several more. But if the alien doesn't die, you can take it back to your base if you have built an alien containment facility. But we haven't. But otherwise, we did okay. We only lost one guy. We got lots of alloys. We'll need that to build from alien technology. We got more navigation units that are worth a lot of money. Our squad is out of ammo, so we'll have to build some more ammo for the squad when they get back. And there you go. So go into bases. To equip the craft, we're missing a guy because we lost one, so we'll replace. And then equipment-wise, you got to see what you're missing. We still have pistols. I've left them, you know. I've left them there in case we run out of other things. I don't know what we ran out of. Oh, I guess everybody had 2 clips, and now we don't have enough for everybody to have 2 clips. Okay, well, we'll make clips. Manufacture. Yes, we have to buy clips. Sorry, we can only manufacture the new stuff we research. It's been a while since I played. So Oh, but we're out of space. Oh, we need to sell some stuff. How cool is that? We have collected too much stuff from all of our missions, and we're pretty much full. So one way to get around that is to build more storage, which I will do, but we can also sell stuff. We don't need 4 navigations. We certainly don't need 15 corpses. Or mine corpses. So that made over $1 million and freed up some space. But build facilities, we can build some more storage, general storage. Everybody's still building. Ah, we got living quarters. Let's see what else we can build. Workshop we don't need. You don't need a workshop at every single base you build. Oh, there's something. So yeah, you don't need a workshop at everyone. You can build at one place and then, you know, transport and move the stuff to other bases, because eventually these costs will build up as you build more things into your base. And you get money sourced from the countries you're protecting, so that happens as well. One of the things you need to do early on is also build missile defenses, because eventually they're going to find out where your bases are and they're going to come after you. And you can shoot the UFOs down with missile defenses sometimes. And that will protect you from having to do one of the missions when they attack your base. Laboratories, you can build that at you build a laboratory at any base where you're going to be running missions out of, because you're going to bring stuff back, and it's a pain in the ass sometimes to transport everything to be researched to one place, but you can if you want. So let's see, we're building everything else. We don't really need this base yet. We'll save the money. We got to get a Sky Ranger and another. When this hangar builds, we'll build a second hangar. One of the things that happen later on when the missions, when the base defense missions are, the aliens usually come in from hangars and elevators. So if you keep the points of entry short and together, like what I'll do is kind of build a U and leave all this empty so the aliens can't flank me and come around all sides. That when they land in a hangar, they have to go through the other hangars and go through this elevator and then go to the rest of the base. That just gives you a choke point where you can put your guys, and it makes it easier. Anyway, we'll let this ride for a minute. Let some things finish. Oh, we need some cannon rounds at the EU. What do you know? I forgot about that. Your interceptors do have cannons, and they need ammo, right? Until you build lasers and plasma weapons. Thanks. I'm not listening on headphones. I can only hear the game playing. I don't hear myself, so I will fix that. Thank you. Hang on just a second. How much I have to stare at my nose while I do this. How's that? Is that better? Check 1, 2, 3. Okay. That should be a lot better. How is that? All right. Too quiet? I don't really. There are times that I have turned the music off and like have iTunes playing in the background. How's that? Is that better? I ramped it up a little bit. So my interceptor got to my new base. You want to go put the weapon system on it that we bought? All right. Let's do... How about... All right. I set it at about minus 16, minus 17 dB. That's what I do. Yeah, I turned everything down. Now I'm slowly turning it back up. But the game also does that to a certain extent. Kind of goes in and out. Like you'll... Yeah, the game has gone... But the... Here when I do something. So is that better now? Can you hear both? I'm getting pretty good levels on both, it looks like. So a terror site mission, these are a little different. Kind of a pain, actually. But this early on, I don't have very good weaponry. You know, I have what I have. We haven't started building with alien technology yet. Oh, and it's nighttime. I didn't even look at that. I haven't played this game in a while, so that's one of the things. Nighttime missions, a lot harder than daytime missions. So when we go out of the ship, we only highlight a small area near the ship. Everything else is incredibly dark. Very dangerous. Very dangerous to do a night mission. And how do you get around that is you can wait. You can wait till your globe screen goes around and you can see that daylight time move around. Excellent. Thank you for your help. Yeah, sorry about the misspelling there. So this is the end of the map. That's a good thing. We're in a corner, so that helps in one of these games when you're stepping off the ship to know where the end of the map is. And there's a building right next to us. That's not good. There could be aliens right behind the windows, right behind the doors. If you don't see them, they could be all over the place. So let's see what happens when we play our first like this. So welcome to the second hour of playing the original XCOM, a DOS-based game that came out on floppy disk back in 1994 and is still a challenge to play. Quite the challenge, actually. You will see. Look how long this is taking. Wow. Quite a few aliens, but... Okay, a terror mission is also moving the humans. There are humans that you can save. If you take care of all the aliens before they kill all of the humans, you will get bonuses for every human saved. mist. Whatever that is in the shadows. It looks like one of the flying saucer tank things. Yeah, it's pretty big. And so you have to hit it with a bunch of... until we get lasers and better weapons. You have to hit it a bunch to make it go away. You can have your guys walk up to windows like this and they can look in. I mean, for its day, this was pretty cool stuff. To be able to, you know, pull the shadows back by like letting your guy turn in that direction. Just really cool. No games have been able to do that before. We were still playing Pong, Space Invader, Doom was coming out, you know, Doom was out and that kind of thing. Or I can use rockets. Oh, now I'm getting a little me in the speakers. I guess I could put on my headphones. I try not to use rockets. Collateral damage and all. Precision, precision. So, Mr. Jopper, have you played XCOM for years? Is this one of your favorite games? Is that you tuned in? Just curious. I always like to meet more XCOM fans because we seem to be in a minority. I've met a few over the years. So I'm turning my sound down. Maybe I'll get a little less of that echo. Yeah, I could wear my headset. Awesome. Glad to hear. Yeah, man, the heart is so brutal and I get so frustrated. I didn't think that'd make for a great video because I'd be cussing a lot. All of the XCOM games, man. Even beginner is pretty difficult. And I've tried different forms of strategy of like willy-nilly, let my guys die and I'll just get more guys, but I like having stronger dudes, you know. And, we're seeing some new alien types come out during this mission. Yay. Then we'll get into mind control. The aliens can mind control your guys. That's always fun. Like I said, this is the original game published by Microprose back in 1994. You must be one of those guys who likes playing Dead Souls. I found Dead Souls, Demon Souls, those games just way too frustrating. I get why they're popular, but just not my thing, man. I just could not. When I play a first-person shooter, I like things to be pretty easy, actually, because I imagine myself in like a Bruce Willis movie or something, and I'm an unstoppable force, and I like kind of running through a game like a Terminator. Not a game like this, but, you know, if I were to play a first-person shooter, which I haven't done on Twitch yet. We should do that. That could be fun. As I said, all this is we're testing. Testing. It's not quote-unquote turn-based like this, but it's just brutally hard. At every turn, you're supposed to die and learn something from dying and then play that guy again. And it's just not... that I don't like being brutalized in a game to get used to it. But XCOM, you know, in the beginning, especially when you don't know what you're doing, this game is, even on beginner, is brutally hard. Once you've played it for a couple hundred hours, then yeah, put it up on Iron Man or whatever, and instant death is instant death, and if you lose the game, you lose the game. There's no restarts, there's no save games, and I love that when I'm, you know, in the mood for punishment. But I was trying to demonstrate and maybe hopefully get some people to play these games at some point. Because, like I said, Phoenix Point is out. And if you haven't played that yet, it's quite good. It's quite entertaining. I haven't finished a game of Phoenix Point yet. I was a Kickstarter, whichever service it was on. I think it was Kickstarter. And so I've been playing Phoenix Point since the very first time, since it first came out in alpha and all that, and beta. And they would always put out an update so often that I would want the update and couldn't finish what I was doing. Oh, great. These kind of things happen. I figured there was nobody in here. We'd looked into windows, so I just made my guy just like walk in the door just to see what was in here from a different angle, and he's standing right in front of an alien. I shot him 3 times, nothing. He shot me back, and he died. Such is XCOM life. My buddy Steve, Captain Steve Porch, some of them annoy me too. But like I said, I've played every iteration since they started working on it, and they released one for us to play, and it's so much better than it was. They've changed the beginning several times. They've changed a lot of mechanics several times. And yeah, I still, I got a PS4. Oh, wow, that hurt. I lost 2 guys. I got a PS4 Pro last year, and I'm now starting to replay some of my older PlayStation games with the PS4 Pro editions, patches, whatever. And XCOM 2 did receive Pro patches to make it better. And I've just restarted that. And I started with War of the Chosen, and I know a lot of people liked War of the Chosen, but I did not. They're just too hard. Sometimes when those villains pop in, it unbalanced the game for me. But I like the kind of, as you said, vanilla experience of XCOM. I just like replaying the missions. You know, the other stuff is fine, the trappings of everything else, but it's that turn-based gameplay that is so fine-tuned in this and so well. Just it's really hard and unforgiving, but it's also quite addictive. And when you finish a mission and guys survive, and like these kind of missions are very hard early in the game. If my team survives this, I'll be thrilled. That would be awesome. It doesn't happen very often, not in the beginning. That was a lucky shot. This version of the game still has the glitch where it slows back down the fire speed for some reason. That's a weird glitch to have. Evelyn, if you didn't paying attention while I was babbling, Evelyn panicked and ran, dropped her weapons and ran, and that happens. I agree with you that the remakes are oversimplified on console. On computer, I don't think they're quite as oversimplified. But then again, this is simplified, kind of, compared to what we have now. There are mechanics that aren't available in this just because it's not in 3D and it's not, we couldn't do it at the time of technology and that kind of thing. But I'm still looking for that experience that gives me that XCOM experience, and the console versions give me that. I can play in my living room or my bedroom or whatever on a big screen TV, and I don't have the PC. I do have the PC versions of those and have played them for hundreds of hours. Still hoping for that perfect XCOM experience, but that's why I keep these DOS-based versions still on my desktop. When I really just want to go back to what I originally loved about these games, I can go back to this. I've not been talking about this game while I've been playing it, but I've actually done pretty well, taking out some pretty major bad guys in this mission. Normally, it's like the 4th or 5th mission of the game, I wouldn't be doing so well. But we're actually doing pretty good. She got her points back, but she dropped her weapons somewhere over here. and so we have to go find them or steal them. Once you research alien weapons, you can pick them up on the fly. If you kill an alien like him, I could go over and take his stuff and start using it right then. But we haven't researched any of the aliens' weapons, so we can't do that yet. I'm not big on playing mods. There are some I have. There's some games I have. But I'm always afraid that the mod is never going to let me go back. And I know, I can just reinstall. It's a lot easier than it used to be. This used to be floppy disk and a long time to install. And that was, yes, a long time ago. But, you know, I like games from the original creators the way they were created. Believe me, in the early days of mods, what was it? What was before Oblivion? All the way back to Daggerfall. You know, I mean, the Elder Scrolls games, we modded the crap out of those. The Ultima games, we modded those. And I've played mods for other things. Doom, obviously. Quake, obviously. But they always wound up corrupting the game at some point. They always wound up, you know, I'd have to wipe my hard drive or, you know, something would get horribly corrupted. And these days, it's why I have an Apple phone and not an Android. I get tired of tinkering. I just want to sit down and play. And sometimes there are too many things to tweak, too many things to change. I just boot up the game and let's play it. And that's why over the years I kind of moved to consoles. I mean, obviously I still have a computer that can play games, but consoles I could just sit down. And back in the day we didn't have to wait for patches. A game came out for a console and we could just play it. Yeah, I should have used a med kit on Evelyn. We could have kept her alive, right? But back in the day, remember, games came out on cartridges and there were no patches. So when a game came out from whatever company, it had to be complete and working. And great. That's how things were. And then with what? PS2 started there were a couple patches. You had to load them on a drive and put one of those PlayStation 2 drives. But with PlayStation 3 and on forward, with the Xbox, there's always been patches for games. When you buy a new game and you buy it the day it comes out, there's a day one patch waiting on you because they fixed more things while the game went gold and was being produced. And we've gotten the industry got way too reliant on that. There's no changing it. It's the way it is now. Everything gets patched. They don't take the time to finish the game 100% before they have to get it out the door. There's schedules and budgets and marketing plans and release plans and all that kind of stuff. And I just, you know, what happened to releasing a game complete when it comes out? No add-ons, no patches, no nothing. It works. You play it for a couple of years and then you buy the new version when it comes out. That has almost all but disappeared in the gaming world. Everything gets patched. Our phones get patched. Our TVs get patched. My receiver, my Onkyo surround sound receiver downloaded a new update the other day, and I'm like, this is, you know, I guess an amplifier, new Dolby Atmos settings. I don't know what it was updating in there. I hope we can change that. It's the industry that has to change. They have to change at the core and how they work, and the big companies are not going to, because like Marvel and Disney and all that, they plan these things years out. And they had this, you know, the game is going to be released on October of this year, and they've got to hit that mark. And remember the early days of Doom and Quake, Romero and the guys, it's done when it's ready. You know, it's done when it's done. I appreciated those days a lot more than what we have today. Today is, you know, then again, we get free patches. I have bought some games, Subnautica. I was an early, yes, it does take two to tango, very true. I bought Subnautica when it first came out, and now I get all the patches, all the updates for any console, any system I have. Whatever I bought the game on, they keep adding content to it years later, you know. And I think that's great. games like that, and what's the space flying game that came out that was nothing, and now it's completely, it's totally playable. Very much like Subnautica and the same thing. Just over the years, they were able to make enough additions to the game to make it worthy to play, to add enough elements to it. And yeah, I don't think the industry wants to change. Look, the makers of Cyberpunk survived releasing a broken game. You know, it had terrible frame rates. My buddy had a PlayStation 4 Pro and just got a PS5, and he was able to almost finish the new Cyberpunk game in its original release form. But they took a drubbing in the industry. They lost a lot of money in returns, although they still made a profit. You know what? They were lucky to they were a little game company when they made the first Witcher game. And by the time they made Witcher 3, they're a huge company. And Cyberpunk had so much hype, and that game would have been so much bigger had it been released finished, complete and done. But again, they had a very ambitious project that was rushed to release for many, many reasons. And the company suffered for it. The game has been a success, but not as much of a success as it should have been. It should have been much. It should have been the biggest selling game of the year, I would imagine. I haven't played it yet because I'm waiting to get a PS5 and play the PS5 patched version. I want that total experience. And honestly, I would have bought it for the PC by now, but my PC is not going to run it as high as a PS5 would run it. So, yes, I do need to upgrade my PC. Quite a bit, actually. But maybe we'll do the streaming stuff. It's working, right? Reloading our weapons here. I do have some major upgrades planned for this. I'm actually going to build a new one from scratch. This is an older multi-core processor unit that I have changed everything out with the case. I don't know what. I don't think there's literally anything left in this case that was in the case when I bought it. And it has gone the max of what the motherboard can do. It has done the max of. That was a really, really hard mission, but we survived, and that's what's important in that particular mission. In XCOM, losses are bad. Losing 6 guys in one mission is bad. Do I know UFO, the two sides? No, I don't. Tell me about it. It's just really important on these where I'm getting a lot of artifacts, a lot of alien things. 31 alien artifacts recovered, live aliens recovered, although we don't have anything. You know, this was a very good mission to just get some stuff out of, but we've got to replace 6 guys, and that's not good. But we survived the mission, and this country will now be happy with us when it comes to funding. Haven't showed you the funding screen yet. Each month, all these countries give you money, and if you do well in their countries, the money goes up. If you do badly in their countries, it goes down. Oh, multiplayer. I used to be a big multiplayer guy in the early days. Quake, Arena, all the way up through the first Destiny. But I got tired of everything being Battle Royale. I got tired of bad matchmaking, of having to play with children who just want to yell, scream, and cuss the whole time. Not that I'm not a multiplayer gamer, but because it's social and it's cool and I get all that. But when I play games like this is kind of, like I said in the beginning, this is kind of my solo thing to do before bed. You know, this is something relaxing I do. There you go. End of our first month. Rankings were excellent. We've done well. We're getting an extra $239,000 this month. Russia wasn't happy, but pretty much everybody else was. So that's pretty good. So maybe we start looking towards building a base in Russia or something like that. So I've always thought that multiplayer XCOM would be interesting. It would be great if somebody could play the aliens. In the newer games, there's multiple factions, and that's a whole nother. Or in Phoenix Point, there's multiple factions, and that's another thing. But if one guy could play the aliens and one person could play the good guys, that would be interesting. I might might be into that. But it's like the Fallout games. I don't play those games to play multiplayer. And Fallout 76, I absolutely hated. It just wasn't Fallout to me. And now they've tried to make it more single-player experience, but they missed the whole reason for why I play a Fallout game in trying to make it multiplayer. And I know multiplayer, I mean, do we remember a day when games didn't have multiplayer? And now even single-player games have to have some kind of multiplayer attached to them? Because everybody likes to play multiplayer, it seems, and I get it. Funny, when multiplayer first came out, when people were doing LAN parties and things like that, people were telling us that it wasn't social. And then the pandemic came, years passed, and then the pandemic came, and now we're all very social on Zoom and FaceTime and computers and consoles, and it's funny. But yeah, playing video games was never social. It was considered antisocial behavior. And now, most of my friends play video games. Most everybody I know plays a video game of some kind, even if it's on their phone. Funny, watching Mortal Kombat, the new movie on HBO Max this week, and yesterday actually, and talking about how things have changed. I mentioned in some of my recent reviews on my podcast that Hollywood finally realized to start making movies for the people that they're for. One of my favorite reviewers online said that Mortal Kombat, movies should be for everybody. That he didn't know anything about Harry Potter when he went to see Harry Potter. Oh man, I didn't put more people on my plane, and now I just sent 2 people on a mission, and oh crap, that was a huge mistake. Let's get out of here. And he's got a point. Movies are made to be mainstream entertainment. But there are millions of fans of Marvel. There are millions of fans of DC. There are millions of fans of video games. There are millions of fans of Mortal Kombat. We can now specialize entertainment. How many streaming services are there? How many options of things to watch? My roommate has this expensive cable bill and like 200 channels. It's so much content, so much choice, that we can be specialized. And you can play as aliens. I like that. That entertainment can be specialized. So they started getting Marvel geeks to make Marvel movies. They started getting Star Wars geeks to make Star Wars movies. They started getting video game geeks to make video games. You know what I mean? That we can be very specialized. And so Mortal Kombat, the new movie, was made for Mortal Kombat fans. It wasn't made to be a movie that everybody's going to watch this weekend and go, wow, what a great action movie. No, it's got so much fan service in it. It's horribly violent. If you don't know anything about Mortal Kombat, it's a bit of a deep dive because there's, I guess you wouldn't, some of the little mentions and call-outs would probably go right over your head. But like a Marvel movie or the Marvel TV shows, like Star Wars, there were great callbacks to Mortal Kombat and the games and little tributes to things in the game, certain movements and things like that. And it's nice that we live in modern times where entertainment can be specialized to an audience, that there are enough people that like Mortal Kombat. The movie, they spent a lot of money on it. And so the same thing with Star Wars, Marvel, and all that kind of stuff. And so with entertainment getting a little more specialized, a little more focused, instead of being mass appeal, we're getting better property movies, better video game movies, better, things based on Marvel properties are better because they let Marvel geeks run the show. Kevin Feige was an associate producer on some early stuff because he knew so much about Marvel. Now he runs the show, the multi-billion-dollar show. But he was just a dude who had all that knowledge. And So when it comes to video games and stuff, they can make a video game. There are enough turn-based strategy players out there that we can get a real XCOM game, I would think. That everything doesn't have to be a multiplayer game, because we had that for a while. I mean, everything has been Battle Royale for a few years. Aren't people getting tired of Battle Royale? That's become like the thing now. Anyway, we should probably build a new base while we got all this money. I wasn't going to play much longer than this, to be perfectly honest. I was going to play for a couple hours. Again, this was a test to see if people would pay attention, to tune in, to care about these kind of games. Test my system, that kind of thing. But yeah, Mr. Jopper, to answer your question, I don't play much much multiplayer, so I never really looked into that mod. I probably should. That would be interesting. Eventually. Like I said, in the coming weeks during this 4 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, I will get into some other real-time strategy games and show you kind of what's out there and what's available and what I like. And I do play a lot of other games. If you go into my Steam, I think I have 200-300 games in there. I've got quite a few Xbox and PlayStation games. I've been a gamer for quite some time. I like a variety of things, but I always go back to I've just always gone back to turn-based strategy games. Just always have. They're just easier for me. It's like sitting down to a chess game with a good friend. Civilization will do one week. If you haven't ever played that game, it's the most addictive game ever made. Just one more turn. Just one more turn. Just one more turn. And a friend of mine, Civilization, I think it was still 1. I don't think 2 had come out. They were still on floppy disks at the time. Same kind of music like this and all that. And when he sat me down with it, he said, you know, you're going to get addicted to this. You're going to be up for a while. That's like, right. Started playing and several hours went by and I looked up and it was just, I had never lost that much time playing a video game before. There will be other Twitches I will do as well. I will have other Twitch broadcasts for different kinds of games. I'm planning to do some of my movie reviews and podcasts live. Like I said, I'll be testing the ability to go live on multiple sources at the same time, so people can watch on YouTube or they can watch on Twitch or whatever. And we'll get to that point. This is my first actual. So thank you for stopping by and checking it out. Watching this very ancient game get played by somebody who's not paying as much attention as he should. The smallest ships you can actually destroy. We blew it out of the sky, and that was the end of that. There have been 7 UFOs so far in this mission. Some we've shot down. 1 we lost. The one we lost in Russia. Didn't make the Russians happy. Any questions, comments, suggestions, always put those down in any of the comment sections wherever you're watching this. Yeah, so if you weren't here, normally I would have different music playing. I'd have the sound turned all the way down and some other music up. I would just turn the sound off altogether. And have some music going and just play this game. It's more important in the... Why didn't I put more people on the plane? Because I'm not paying attention. Wow. That was a huge mistake to make, wasn't it? Any ammo either. Yeah, he's got 1. Shit. Oh well. When I get out of here, remind me to put more guys on the plane. this is not two guys on a mission. That's not going to go well. It's okay. Two people can handle it. You're right. Look how quick that turn went. Two people can't handle it. You're right. But still, we've got these human weapons. We don't have any alien technology yet, so it's a bit brutal. How our imaginations embellish the gameplay. It's funny to play it now when you're used to playing things that look, realistic. And have weighty physics and things like that. Back in the day, we just pictured this in your mind as you're playing it being, more of what we have today than what it looks like now. What would you estimate, Mr. Chopper? One guy left? Let's see how long it takes. 1, 2, 3, maybe 3. There'll be damage inside the UFO because we shut it down, so that's a plus. Haven't uncovered much of the map, though. I agree with that. It's kind of like reading a book. Books are always better than movies because you can picture things better in your head. Nothing that a director is going to make is ever going to look as good in a book, in a movie version of a book. That's what you come up with in your head. And I find that some of these older games, it was the imagination that made them great, that you fill in the spaces, much like we did as kids playing with Legos or whatever. You build a Lego spaceship, the thing can't actually fly, but you make it fly in your head and all that kind of stuff. And same thing with these. I think our imaginations embellished some of the rudimentary graphics to make it more X-Files-ish or more, Aliens-ish or whatever than it was at the time. 5 points? Crap! I was hoping you had enough time to back out the door, but... And I know somebody's going to tune into this and go, look at those graphics. Ew. Yeah, I get that. I kind of did that. Wow, we played this? And blown up on I have a 27-inch monitor. When I play this full screen, it's like, wow, I can count the pixels. I think the original resolution was like 400 pixels wide or something like that. Now I make graphics that are more than 400 pixels wide. Yeah, this guy's a terrible shot. He's right in front of you, so I'm going to move him out of the way. Of course not. No, he's got one shot left. Great, we probably just destroyed some technology we'll be stealing. And also never do what I just did, put one guy right next to another. Aliens will throw a grenade and take both out. It's just not a good thing to do. But I'm hoping that we can kill all the aliens before their turn. Well, maybe the alien will panic. Nope. He didn't. Well, there's only one left. Somebody... Oh, shoot. Well, he's out of bullets. Let's get rid of any technology we were going to steal. Totally for demonstration purposes. And of course, that wasn't all of them. While we're here, let's see if there's anybody on the ship, because they're probably not. Great. Great. This is going to be a long one. But you never know if somebody's hiding in here. And they're not. Oh, but they're by the front door. And he was bleeding and died. Now we're down to one guy. Great. At least he's the one with bullets. And that should be the end of that. Well, we got lucky. I shouldn't have even played that with with two guys, but we did, and there you go. So thank you for joining me today on this stream of the original XCOM. I will save this game where it is, and we will pick back up the next time I show up. Depending on what the weather is like tomorrow, maybe I will pop back in and play this particular game some more, and you can see different kind of aliens show up, different bigger ships, bases. There's a lot more to the game that we didn't cover in the first hour and 45 minutes here. So, you know, stay tuned to the channel, subscribe and all that. I need to get some more dudes. And like I said before, I usually go into the game and change the names on the soldiers so I know who's who. I know Bob always has the rocket launcher, and I know Sam always, you know, that kind of thing. But I haven't done that for this particular game, because that would be more like a strategy session than a demonstration session, right? I want laser rifles. I love laser rifles and plasma rifles. I hear one of my dogs waking up. It must be time to go out. I heard somebody wake up right there. Hey, Mickey, what's up? Yes, it's about time to take my dogs out. Like I said, therockpile.com has links to all my projects. This is going to be a regular thing I'm going to start doing. I started it a few months ago, but then I had to move. Now I have a better location. You know, I have an office now where I can do this kind of thing. And the great thing about having this office is everything's already set up. I just walk in and hit a switch and turn on the lights and turn on the computer, and we go. You know, it's pretty cool. Didn't I buy rifle clips? Did we use them? Did I buy them for the other base by accident? I know, Mickey, I'm coming. Yep, my dogs are asking to go out, so I think I've hit my limit for today. I know, hang on. So we'll save that right here and come back next time. Thank you so much for watching, listening. Thanks for coming on board. Really appreciate it, actually. And we'll do more of this kind of stuff. This was my first one, so thank you for being here. Thank you for checking it out. Any questions, comments, suggestions, anything we should do in the future, changes we should make, I'd love to hear from you. This is all a learning experience for me as well. And have a great day. Go play something. Have some fun.